Hello, welcome to Martha's Fragrance Corner. My name is Martha, and I have a video that was inspired by two questions that came from two different places. One was in my Facebook group in the chat. Sherry in the chat mentioned it would be great if YouTubers can do a video, like if you like this vendor, you might like this one. And I thought that was such a great idea. And I hope that other YouTubers kind of riff off of this, because I can only speak for the vendors I'm familiar with. And I know there's hundreds of vendor wax, small businesses. And I will get into vendor wax in a little intro into that, because I feel like this could be a series of different questions around vendor wax. And I'll get to that in a second. I'm terrible at jumping around, but I hope other YouTubers also take a riff off of this, because again, I'm only familiar with so many, and there's hundreds and hundreds of vendors out there. And I think it would be fun to see what we think, or someone may make a connection that I'm like, oh yeah, I totally see that. So I think it would be really great. In the chat, Ashley Overly here on YouTube as well also thought that she might do this video. So I hope she does, because she's super knowledgeable, much more than I am. But I thought this would be fun to do. The second kind of inspiration for this video was a question that someone asked on my YouTube channel. And the question was, I don't like to chop. The comment was, I don't like to chop. What wax vendors are there that don't require chopping? And I was like, so I gave her a list, but I'm like, well, that's also a great thing to mention. And it got me thinking that there's probably many folks that are either new to wax, dipping their toes into vendor wax, or just kind of this is a little newer for them. And even if it's not, this is, I think, a video for you if you're interested in hearing, if you like this, maybe you'll like this kind of thing. But also, I love kind of this crowdsourcing. So if you disagree or you have other suggestions, please put them in the chat as we go along, because I think that would be really great. But I'm thinking this could be a series of a little bit of a Vendor 101. I did do a Vendor 101 video like 2 years ago. I was still new, and I did that video because I didn't find one. And I was, I felt like being new and coming in through Sassy, because that's kind of how I came in through wax. People were talking about vendors, and I'm like, what's a vendor? Like, who's the vendor? I'm thinking like, who is this vendor? Like, everyone's talking about some vendor wax. And I didn't know what that was. And then they throw out things like RTS, TAT, or TAT pre-orders. And so I did that video to, I think, help those that are new to it. So I will start this video with a little bit of background of that and talk about what is vendor wax, and what do those acronyms mean, and then talk about the different sizes that are offered. And then I will talk about answer that no chopping needed question. And then I will also talk about, if you like this vendor, I think you might like this one. There's a similar vibe there going. So I hope you enjoy this video, and if you're interested in it, I hope you are. Stick around. All right, so I lost the sun completely. It's only 4, but I think it's behind clouds, so I have a different light that I just got from Amazon. So hopefully this video looks okay. I don't know what the lighting is. It's a little newer. I'm keeping it still a little dim, but hopefully it's not too dark. I just didn't want it too bright in my eyes. But let's talk a little bit about vendor wax. Like, what is it? So, and if you know what this is, timestamps are below, so you can jump to different parts of this video. But if you're new, we can start here. So vendor wax is basically small businesses that sell wax melts. So it's a small business, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. I've melted maybe 50 of them. And I know I'm not even close to melting some bigger ones, some popular ones. And, I was just very busy in 2023? Yeah, 2023. I was just very busy buying a lot of vendor wax. And so I feel like I could do this video now, and maybe I couldn't have done it, 3 years ago. So vendor wax is small businesses, and there's tons of them. You know, you've heard me talk about my top 5 vendors. You've heard me talk in my weekly what I've been warming. I go through a variety of vendors that I have and enjoy. But that's what it is. It's a small business. It's a small business, and they sell wax melts. And I got into vendor wax coming in through Sassy because Sassy doesn't have a lot of bakery. And so that was my gateway into vendor wax. I wanted more bakery. I wanted lavender scents, and I wanted, you know, I was looking for another almond croissant, and then I heard they had great coffee. And so, you know, down the rabbit hole I went, and through there discovered lots of vendors. Some vendors sell on Etsy. Some have their own websites. Some sell, you know, 24/7. They're not shipping 24/7, but you can order anytime. They're always going to have stock. Some have scoops, some are soft, some you have to chop, some you don't. So I'm going to get into all of that. So let's start off with, what is RTS? I heard that a lot. I'm like, what does that mean? RTS means ready to ship. It means you go on the site and it's what you see there. It's ready to go. They have it in stock off the shelves. You can order it and have it within, I don't know, a week or so, right? That is RTS. Then you have pre-orders. And a lot of vendors have gone kind of the pre-order route. And pre-orders mean they're going to give you a scent list, and you can order from that list. So you're paying in advance, and then they can buy the supplies that they need and pour that wax. So it's going to be freshly poured for you, and you get it within anywhere from like 8 to 10 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks, right? Kind of on average. And sometimes it's 4 weeks. I mean, it all really depends on the vendor and what their turnaround time is. And that is TAT. So if you ever see TAT, that is a turnaround time. So that tells you how many weeks they need to get supplies, pour it, and then usually the shipping week or weeks are not included. So you can add maybe another week or 2 after their turnaround time for you to get your wax at home. I have so much wax that I don't mind pre-orders at all. I know in the beginning, I started with RTSs because I wanted it right away. And so there are several vendors that will do a pre-order, and then whatever they have left, and then they'll pour extras and then maybe some new scents, and then they'll do an RTS kind of at the end of that pre-order. And then if you get in those windows, you can get, you know, ready to ship stuff right away. So I started with Harper James, who had stock available, Pharmacist's Daughter that had stock available. I feel like L3 constantly has stock available. They do pre-orders as well, but I feel like you can always find stuff on L3. And so those are really like my first vendors. And so once I had inventory, I probably bought more than I needed. And then the pre-orders I didn't mind because I have plenty of wax to melt in between waiting for that pre-order. So I don't mind pre-orders at all. I kind of like them now because I'm trying to use down my wax. So I know that I have like 8 weeks to burn down through some of that wax before I get more. So that's a little bit of vendor wax. Let's jump into the different sizes, different offerings. You will see things as small as like little cubes like this, and even smaller. I don't happen to have one that is just 2 cubes from like that Smell Good shop that offers a variety of sizes, 2, 6, I think 12. You know, they offer scoops as well. I don't have a scoop from that Smell Good shop, but that's not a good one to show. I'll talk about that one. L3 has scoops, right? Zape, who is no longer in business, had scoops. So there's also different scoops. I should talk about this one. The reason I put it down is because it's no longer called the scoopable wax melts. I think it's macaron wax melts. I think that's the new name. I just had to think about it for a second. So they changed the name and they're not doing scoops anymore. So they used to do scoops, but there's scoops. There's clamshells clamshells. There's mini loaves, which is basically that. It's kind of half a loaf, but not quite, maybe. So there's mini loaves, and we have shapes. We have some wax that has kind of fun shapes like this one, or has what I call like these little bunts, these little rosettes like this. We have these kind of brittle bars that break off, and you can just break off. Same thing. I don't know. They all have different names, but they're kind of similar. Snap bars, you know, snap bars like that. And then, of course, Sassy Girl Aroma. I know I have some in here. Let me pull a nicer one. Here we go. You know, and brittles. So these are all kind of very similar. They run about the same amount of wax. They just have slightly different names for them, but those are different types. And then there's stuff like these, I think these are called trig, right? Is that what they're called? Like trig, trig tarts, I think, trig, or they have tarts. L3 has a lot of different configurations, but I just kind of grabbed a handful here to show you. So vendors have, and tubs, did I mention tubs? Teddy bees, lavender and speckles, the pharmacist shop. So a lot of places have tubs as an option amongst the other options they offer, right? And then I didn't even bring it, but I will pull one from my melting basket. And then you have souffles. So souffles in this smaller cup. Sometimes they come in, let's see, you know, sometimes they come in this kind of tin. Sometimes they come in something like this, but they're soufflés. So a lot of options in sizes. I have found in my experience for living in an apartment, only having so many warmers in a room, that these soufflés are actually a really nice size. And if I love that scent, I could get like 2 of them. Whereas with a tub, I don't know if I brought one that was partially used. Did I? I did not. With a tub, it's a little harder for me to use this all like at once. And then I end up with partials all over the place. So I found I do like them if I really like the scent, but I would prefer now, kind of my new preference would be to get 2 soufflés, which is normally about 1 tub, and do that. Now, if I'm crazy about a scent, and I know it's not going to come around very often, and I love it, I may get a loaf. So I do have loaves, but these take me a very, very long time to warm, but that's okay, because depending on the vendor too, you know, they don't go bad after, you know, even if we have it for 2 years or so. So I will get loaves every once in a while, but I'm kind of trending toward not doing that, and maybe just getting multiple soufflés, because then I can finish one up and be done with it and then use another one up later. And so I do like that. One thing that's different, if you came in if you're used to Scentsy, let's just say, like Scentsy has their club, which you can do. One thing about vendors is sometimes if you love a scent, you may not get it back in for a long, long time. You may not get it back for a long time. You may not see it ever again. But really depends on the vendor. And I think it depends on, they all have different ways of bringing back scents that you love. So it's, unless it was just not a popular scent at all, most cases you will see it come back. Like I've seen Honeybee, which I love from Teddy Bees, come back at least 3 times since 2023. So, you know, so you will see it. You just might have to wait for it. It's not like it's a catalog that they have and you can just order anytime. So that is a difference there. I have so much wax, I don't mind. And there's so much variety that I'm okay, because I have so much wax I love that I'm not really missing like, oh, I need to melt that again. You know, I don't know. There's so much to enjoy. And I think that is why I love vendor wax. I'm getting some great bakery scents. I'm getting great coffee scents. I do like coffee scents. I'm also getting complex scents, atmospheric scents, and kind of scents that I just don't find with Scentsy. So I don't think you have to have either or. For me, I like having both. And I like having the variety that I can find in vendor wax. Okay, so to answer the question, and let me take a sip of water here. to answer the question, or, you know, the comment that is, I don't like to chop. What vendors are out there that you don't need to chop? And so I mentioned, let me pull another one here. Yeah, I'll just pull this one out here. Rose Girls, mini melters, cubes. I drop 1 or 2, depending, usually 2 of these cubes in a warmer, and no chopping required. You just drop them and pull them in there. So I love Rose Girls for that. It's just easier. If you have these kind of snap bars, so like from Noel's Farm Scents. I was about to say Travis, and then I almost said Trader Joe's. Or you have snap bars, right? So you have these brittles. These literally, you just snap it off. It's not messy. You could just snap off the bar. In some cases, you know, like this one is already broken. You snap and drop. So I can drop 2 of these cubes and drop it in. So no Harper James, another one. So Harper James I pulled. I mentioned Rose Girls, Noel's Farm Scents. This one is Glitterati. I didn't grab it. I didn't grab it, but it looks just like this. This one is Traverse City Wax. So Traverse City Wax also offers this size that you can drop it in a warmer, no chopping required. Of course, Sassy Girl Aroma, which I talk about all the time, no chopping required. Then you have from That Smell Good Shop. That Smell Good Shop has these little cubes, and you can get them in different sizes, like I mentioned earlier, and you just drop those in. L3, there's shapes. So you can find shapes sometimes, not always, but I think you can find shapes from L3. Lavender and Speckles has these bunts that I mentioned. The Candle Nurse. Unfortunately, I went through all this kind of bunch from the Candle Nurse, but she does offer that. But she also offers clamshells. So from the Candle Nurse, no chopping required with clamshells. Kay's Scented Melts also offers clamshells, and also offers, I think they're called Kay's Cuts, which would be, I guess, closest in similarity to, like, you know, these, like, they look like cubes and they're Kay's Cuts. So those are not chopping required. So I mentioned L3, Knowles, Kay's, That Smell Good Shop, Traverse City Wax, Lavender and Speckles. I think I mentioned those are the ones that I have that don't require chopping that I can think of. I know on occasion Second and Spruce has clamshells, but I'll get into her wax in a moment. But those were, I think, the vendors that I mentioned that no chopping is needed. All right, so let's go into, I think if you like this, you may like that, or similar vendors that offer similar things. So sometimes they're not all going to be same vibe, but there's similarities to them. And so I'm going to start with Kay's Scented Melts. I'm going to start with Kay's. I would have, had she not closed, put Zape in here because they're almost the same clamshell. Southbound also has the same similar clamshells. So there are, and then like I said, the Candle Nurse has those clamshells. I already lost the Candle Nurse has clamshells. But let's talk about some similarities. I think what I like about Kay's and That Smell Good Shop, as far as similarities go, not so much in the wax, but in the vendor, is you can shop on their site anytime and you're going to be able to purchase wax. So if you don't want to wait for an RTS or a pre-order and you just want to buy some wax, both of them have wax all the time, and both do customs. I didn't touch on customs, but I'll get back to it. Both do customs. Like if there's a scent or mixes that you want to try together, you can have Kay's do a blend for you, a custom blend, and do it like in a Kay's Cuts, which are those like cubes. Kind of similar to this. I don't have any on hand anymore. And same with That Smell Good Shop. You can order anytime, different sizes, you can sample things. And so that's a similarity that they offer. Now the Candle Nurse, this year said she was kind of moving in that direction as well, having a mix of pre-orders, but also you can shop her website at any time and find some scents. Now, I think it's only scents that she's got available, whereas Kay's, you can literally order anything on the site and she will port for you and ship it out right away. So anything. It's not like a particular list. It's not like a subset of her inventory, anything. So I have a lot of K's because I got myself into trouble with this long list because I can order it all. It's all available. So that is K's. I do find with K's, for me, I had to let it cure for about a year for the scent to work better in my home. I definitely noticed a difference from when I first got it to like it just sat around for a year. This particular one is from October of 2023. So I just have a lot of wax. So there's that. Now, a similarity, I would say, with that Smell Good shop and like L3, I think scent-wise, I would put them, if you like one, you might like the other. And the reason being is they both offer scoops. So L3 has scoops, so does that Smell Good shop. I don't have any with me. I've received samples. The consistency is different. If you were familiar with the Zape scoops, I would say that Smell Good shop scoops are similar in consistency. I liked it actually because it didn't stick. It wasn't messy. Some people don't like scoops because it's messy. I felt like with that Smell Good shop, it just kind of slid off the spoon or the knife, whatever you're using, and worked really well. But they both offer a lot of scents. You can do customs, and you can L3 will call you up, I think, for customs. I'm not as familiar with that one, but I know like Shijo here knows a lot about L3. So, and she's probably done plenty of customs for that Smell Good shop. So Shijo, if you do a video like this, that would be great. You'd probably give better information than I am, but I do know that I'd say if you like these kind of scents where you can mix a lot of things together, I'd say maybe similar vibe as L3, not just because they both have scoops, but I think scent-wise and combination-wise and things like that, you can get kind of similar things. Both work great for me in my home. I need to maybe do a focus on L3 next month. I just don't reach for it too much, and I've mentioned this before. I didn't bring a great example, but a lot of times the names are just names of the wax oils, and I don't know. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it seems to. This particular one doesn't. It's just smooth. It's just snooze button, but I haven't used it yet, but it smells really good. So I need to use some scoops. I have loaves of L3. I have, this is one of my favorite scents. So this is Shapes from L3. And I had a Trig. So I have different shapes, and I have tarts as well from L3. So I think those would be like, if you like one, you might like the other for those reasons. Now, I think for me, an obvious one is, I didn't bring, I believe the Candle Nurse is offering souffles now as well. I didn't bring one out here, but I believe she is. But if you like Teddy B's kind of scents, I feel like you'll love the Candle Nurse. If you like complex, perfumey, atmospheric, beautiful blends with a lot of different notes and just, I would say, sophisticated bougie. If you like Teddy B's, I think you'd love the Candle Nurse. So that is one where I think from a scent perspective, I think there's a lot of similarities between the Candle Nurse and Teddy B's. So that is one that I think, if you like this, you might like that one. I did bring it out. For wax that is soft, I would say the softest, and Teddy B's is fairly soft. So Teddy B's has a nice, Teddy B's chops really nice. So if you hate chopping because, you're going to get little pieces of wax everywhere or crumbles, I get that. I don't like chopping that kind of wax either. I will mention a trick. Teddy B's, it melts really well. Although I feel like the wax has changed a little bit since 2023. I feel like it's gotten just a little harder than it was back in 2023. But softer wax, now we're talking second and spruce. And this is a plus and minus. I think if you don't like chopping and you don't like to get your hands full of wax, this may not be for you, because second and spruce wax is very soft. It's like butter. It's like you're chopping butter. And so you're going to have to wash your hands, and it's going to get on your hands and stuff. It is very soft, but the performance of this wax, for me, it's worth it. I don't mind, because the performance is fantastic. I did try lavender and speckles. She's got different types of wax. So she's got the harder wax. I think this is a parasoy. And I'm sorry because it's double bagged, but this is a harder wax. And then she introduced olive oil wax last year. The olive oil wax is also very soft. I would say, you know, similar to second and spruce in like it's gonna be messy. You're going to get it all over your hands. So that wax is pretty soft. I'd say the olive oil and second and spruce is pretty soft. As far as, I kind of feel like, I'm trying to think here. I would say if you like second and spruce, but maybe don't want something that soft, I kind of feel like Salt Mountain Melts. You might like Salt Mountain Melts. It's not as soft, but it still chops really nicely. And I feel just offers some really nice bakery scents, and I feel for me, I think you could like, if you like one, you might like the other, as far as the kind of scents that they offer. So I would say that Salt Mountain Melts could have a similar vibe to second and spruce, but without the wax being as soft. And they come in tubs and souffles is what I usually see. Thought I brought Ferris Wheel After Dark, but I guess I didn't. So kind of touched on those. I don't know. I would say that if you like Rose Girls, this is where I'll go next. If you like Rose Girls and maybe you love a scent, but she's not offering it anymore, do try, is it Macaron wax melts? Used to be scoopable wax melts, because the owner of, I'm bringing a scoop here, sorry. The owner of this company is the owner of Jenny, or the mother of Jenny, I'm sorry. Jenny Oaks owns Rose Girls. I forget her name. Is it Mary? I forget the owners of Macaron wax melts, but they're related. So if you like Rose Girls apple fritter, for example, and she's not offering it, you could probably get it from Macaron wax melts. So that's just something to know. Those oils are the same. They're the same scent. So that's like an obvious, if you like one, you're going to like the other. And sometimes it's nice to be able to pick it up. I would put, as far as, I don't know if they're similar, but I kind of feel like I could say, I don't know. Actually, I'm trying to think of, like, K's, I would have said similar to Zape, but Zape is not around anymore. I'm not sure what else to compare it to, other than that Smell Good shop. And I think L3 kind of fits in that group. I'm trying to think with the Pharmacist Daughter. I don't have a ton of the Pharmacist Daughter, although I've done like 3 hauls. So it's not like I have no experience with the Pharmacist Daughter, but I'm trying to figure out, like, if you like the Pharmacist Daughter, what would who would, maybe K's, I'm kind of thinking as well, just because they're different. And the reason I say that is the Pharmacist Daughter has a oil called Swedish Dream Salts, which I don't think any other vendor really uses, but I can find it on K's. Like, they have that same, they have some of the same oils. K's got a lot of variety. So I would kind of put these, if you like one, you might like the other. Yeah, but I've only purchased like 1 scent from the Pharmacist Daughter, Coconut Crack being like my favorite. And I'm not huge on coconut, but if you've been with me for a long time, you know I love coconut crack from the Pharmacist's Daughter. I'm kind of thinking it falls in the closer to maybe K's type of sense, if I had to guess. And so I think I covered the ones that I'm familiar with. The other one I have here is Knoll's Farm Scents. I love Knoll's. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. Like who it might be similar to. So I don't know. Maybe help me out here on this one, you guys. Those that buy Knoll's. I feel like I always buy Knoll's because he might be in a category on its own. Really nice fruity scents. You've got some great bakery scents, but they're not, what's the word? There's some bakery that there's just like this underlying bakery note, and I feel like his bakery is just a little different, a little more unique. So yeah, I'm not sure who I would pair Knoll's Farm Scents with. Yeah, let me know. Maybe Rose Girls, maybe. You know, maybe there. So anyway, those were the combos I think I was thinking of. I think I've touched on everything here, but I'm curious to know if you have any thoughts, whether you have a YouTube channel or not. If you have a YouTube channel, maybe you can make a version of this and tell me what goes with Knoll's or the Pharmacist's Daughter. If not, down in the chat, I'd like to know, what did I miss? I mean, there's, like I said, so many other vendors that I'm just not as familiar with to say, like, if you like this, you like that. Some for me were really obvious. Candle Nurse Teddy Bees, and some others were not. Yeah, I also feel like Lavender and Speckles makes I don't know what to say. They're similar besides the olive oil wax being soft, like what am I doing with my hands? The olive oil wax being soft, like Second and Spruce's wax. I thought I was going to say, but maybe I didn't. I'd say Traverse. Did I say this yet? Traverse City could be similar to Harper James a little bit. I think there's some similarities there. And yeah, I think that was the inspiration for this video. So I hope this was helpful. And let me know if there's some other kind of video that you're interested in hearing about, and let me see if I missed anything else. All right. I did not. I did write down some notes. Sometimes I turn on the camera, but I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be so all over the place. But let me know if there's other kind of questions you have about vendor wax that I didn't answer. This could become a series. Love some ideas, as I'm not hauling as much. I still like and enjoy making content. So sometimes it's hard to think about, like, what kind of video would you like to see? So if you have some ideas, then please put them down in the chat as well. Would love to keep this conversation going. I do have a Facebook group if you're interested in joining, and I'll put that information down below. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Oh, you know what? I forgot Sassy Girl Aroma. I don't know. She's another one that's kind of a league of their own. So I don't know or I'd say, if you love this, buy this. Let me know, because I love Sassy Girl. I love Sassy Girl. So let me know what you think. If you like Sassy Girl, you might like this one, and maybe it's one I didn't mention. So now I'm done. Okay, bye-bye.